A lot of business books out there lose readers by chapter 2, not because the ideas aren't good, but because the chapters feel flat, bland. So, so what? If you want your books to pull readers in, to build trust, to move the readers to action, you need to have more than just content. And I'm going to be talking today about something that a lot of people don't talk about, not because it's bad or weird or anything, but because it's a little bit outside the box. And that is your chapters should embody the journey you're taking your readers on. So, what I'm going to be talking about today are 5 archetypal chapters that transform reading your book into having an experience. Hi, my name is Carma Spence, and I help big thinkers, visionary leaders, and seasoned experts write, publish, and market client attracting books to grow their business. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so that YouTube will know that this is a video that people like you who want to grow their business with books will want to watch. So let's get to the first archetype. And I actually called them by actual archetypes, like people archetypes. So the first archetypal chapter is the rebel. The rebel breaks the rules and dismantles a myth. This chapter is disruptive. It's direct. It earns trust by challenging assumptions. So a rebel chapter is going to say, hey, this is what you've been believing. Guess what? It's wrong. And this is why it's wrong. And a really good rebel chapter says, this is what the zeitgeist out there believes, and it's wrong. And here's why. That's a rebel chapter. And it is a chapter that, in fact, you could probably write an entire book like this. But if you have too many rebel chapters in a row, it might be a little off putting. But it's really good to have near the beginning of your book because then people go, ooh, this person has something different to say. And it doesn't have to be like crazy. I mean, quiet in a way was rebellious because it was saying, guess what? Introverts aren't just nothing. We don't just sit in little quiet corners, and we are valuable to the world. And Brene Brown, she does a lot of things with rebel elements because she's saying, guess what? Vulnerability is a strength. Who would have thought, right? There's a little bit of rebel in there. Type number 2 is the guardian at the gate, which always makes me think of I am Zul from Ghostbusters, the very first original Ghostbusters. But that's not what the guardian at the gate is about. The guardian at the gate addresses resistance, objections, and fears. This chapter helps the reader cross the mental threshold to commitment. It pairs really well with the rebel. So in the rebel, you've said, everything you think about is wrong, which of course is going to bring up all this fear, all these objections, all this resistance. So you bring in your guardian at the gate chapter that says, okay, here's what you're likely feeling. This fear, this frustration, this objection, this resistance. And here's how you break through it. Here's how I take you from your world where you're uncomfortable and afraid into my world where you're confident and you know how to do whatever it is I'm teaching you to do. The third archetype is the apprentice. So think about Mickey in The Sorcerer's Apprentice. He didn't quite know how to do magic, which is why he screwed up and made an army of brooms. The apprentice is the person who is learning, who's practicing, who is experimenting, who is learning. So the apprentice chapter invites that sort of energy, invites your reader to experiment, to learn, to be curious. Stay curious, my friends. The apprentice chapter teaches something to the reader. that they must try themselves. So this is the kind of chapter that will have exercises, action steps, prompts, things that get the reader to do something. Now, a lot of chapters, sometimes you can have a rebel that ends with an apprentice. That's a very good strategy as well. Sometimes you're mixing archetypes because the chapter itself doesn't need to embody the whole archetype. But by infusing these archetypes into your chapters, you make a more readable book. So if you're enjoying this video so far, you will love the workshop I'm doing at the end of this month. You've got less than 2 weeks to buy your ticket because I'm going to be closing up the buyer because there is a little bit of pre-work. So I'm going to be closing off the tickets next Friday. It's called the Mythic Bio Lab. And in it, we're going to take your raw story, the story that you went through to do what you do. So there was a before and an after, there was turning points, all those kind of things. That's what the pre-work does. It helps you pull out all that information. And then we're going to forge it into a mythic bio through the crucible of AI prompts. And what we're doing is we're taking your raw story and we're turning it into the hero's journey format, layering in archetypes, layering in sensory feelings so people experience your bio rather than just read it. And when they experience your bio in the right way, meaning they see themselves in your before, so they see hope for their future in your after. When a person can read your bio and think, this person gets me, they're going to lean in and they're going to want to work with you. That's the whole point of having the Mythic Bio. And that's what I'm going to teach you to do in the Mythic Bio Lab. So if you want to join me, it's only $100. And all you have to do is go to here, karmaspence.com/mythic bio. I will see you there. Now let's get on to number 4. And number 4 is one of my favorites. It's The Alchemist. I did an entire speech on alchemy once, and it's now an ebook available on Kindle. The point of an alchemist is he was looking for transformation. That's what the Philosopher's Stone was all about. It wasn't just about transmuting lead into gold. It was about transmuting the alchemist into his highest potential. So the alchemist archetype for chapters is it shows how to transform something messy, a crisis, a mistake, a tension, into clarity or growth. It's sort of the reframing chapter. It's the turning point where you turn pain into power. So think about it. They've been through the rebel and the guardian of the gate and the apprentice. And at this point, they've kind of dismantled their current situation, but now they don't know exactly how to get to the other thing. That's where the alchemist comes in. The alchemist says, okay, this is your before. This is the after you want. Here's how you get there. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This is how you transform the reader from their before to their after. And it's very powerful. And more than likely, the alchemist is going to be woven into your entire book. But there's always that one chapter, the one chapter that is it's like the crucible chapter. That's the alchemist chapter. And number 5 is the oracle. This predicts what's coming based on your insight or trend analysis. Entire books are oracle books. It makes the reader feel like they're on the cutting edge because here is what no one's talking about. Da, da, da. Here's the future I see, and you can be a part of it. That's what the oracle is doing. You can have an entire book that's an oracle, or you can have every chapter have elements of all these archetypes: rebel, guardian at the gate, apprentice, alchemist, oracle. And when you breathe your book into life using these powerful archetypes that are like embedded in our brains, the reader leans in, they pay attention, and they are more likely to end that book thinking, wow. and they'll be more likely to hire you. So there you go, 5 archetypes that transform chapters into compelling experiences. On Friday, I will be back and we will be going into what is it? The land of sight, sound. We'll be heading to the Twilight Zone and I will be sharing 5 Twilight Zone storytelling tricks that every expert should use in their books. I hope you'll be there. I will see you on Friday. This is Carma Spence saying ciao for now.